So let me see whether I understand this. So, Neil, you've got a box. I want to have something sent to the box. Does what's the pitch on your website as to why you kind of rent a swap box?
Yeah, the pitch is you're not at home. You're in a modern society. There's not always someone at home. You don't know when you're at home sometimes. Maybe on a Friday night you want to go get dinner and you don't want to wait around for a package. So that's the concept, is everything is customer choice, and one choice is on-demand shipping and receiving of packages. The other choice is I want to go somewhere that I'm normally going, a grocery store, a gas station, convenience store, but I want to pick up a package there and sort of fulfill two different chores that I have to do.
And what you're too polite to say is you don't have to go to the post office.
Yes, and you don't have to go to the post office.
Which possibly enters into your marketing from time to time.
Every once in a while, yeah.
And ShipBob, so how does that work?
That enters our marketing too. We basically initially started out as an app-based product, and the on-demand feature basically, you take a picture of whatever you needed to ship out, and we would come pick it up in Chicago and New York. Within a month, we found that mostly small businesses were using us, and it was similar products going out. So we trashed the mobile app to our chagrin, and built out a web-based platform with integrations with e-commerce stores, and initially started getting inbound requests to actually house pallets of product for Kickstarters, and decided that we needed to build our warehousing space and actually do e-commerce fulfillment. But I think the key with our product is that it's based on software and software solutions as a whole. So a hub and spoke model, if you will, to really enable these small businesses from literally their first shipment to have a solution that enables them to focus on the key competencies or the core competencies of their business. Because as much as we find shipping sexy and valuable, it's not. It adds no tangible value to their business, at least unless you have some fancy marketing scheme. But it's the most crucial deliverable, is getting your product there, and it becomes an afterthought for almost all of the small businesses that I talk to.
So John, I'm coming here. Just a second. So I get what I get is you could do Swapbox on your phone. Is that right? I mean, you could just do it with your thumb.
Yeah, you could.
And you could go do it at dinner. You could go have the thing delivered to the box, and then after dinner you could go pick things up on your way home.
Yeah, the concept is
of course, you'd have to live in Santa Clara, but
yeah,
that's the concept, right?
You'd have to be in the Bay Area right now, but we are expanding out. The concept is pretty simple. You kind of just get notified when you are going about your normal day, and you have the convenience factor of being able to pick up whenever you want throughout the day. So if it is on your way home from work, you can pick it up. Let's say you're at dinner, you can pick it up afterwards. We operate, all of our locations are open till at least about 10 or 11 p.m. Most of them are 24/7. So there's that convenience and flexibility and users' ability to choose.
So, John, you guys are the incumbent. And I'm not making fun, because we're thinking in terms of big incumbent services, but each of you guys is describing something that's essentially saying, here's how we take things out of the postal system, possibly, or make things more efficient, right? And all on a phone.
So web-based now, but we still leverage UPS, USPS, FedEx, DHL, the carriers, and that's part of our platform, as well as price shopping for these small businesses, and actually optimizing their packaging, doing all of their packaging purchasing for them. They don't have to go and actually go to Uline or whatever organization you guys have out here. They don't have to do that anymore at an affordable cost. And the way we can do it is we focus on small businesses with lower SKU counts and low to medium-sized volumes that don't have the business discounts, so we still can make our margin on the shipping. And we don't charge a pick and pack fee because we focus on those lower SKU count companies. So that's really the most tangible added value right now. But eventually it's going to be the first mile and hopefully the last mile with companies like Swapbox and Dorman, who's going to be talking tomorrow, and a host of other ones. Uber Rush, there's a host of capabilities for software to actually price shop there too and offer last mile white glove delivery.
So I want to just encourage everybody to think as the strategist that's going to help. I mean, John may have some ideas here as well, but the whole point of my story about Uber and Foursquare is the idea that if you can put it on the phone, if you can put it in the app, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you sell something else? why wouldn't you create a new service as long as it's part of a seamless service? And John, in Canada, do you feel this is a threat, an opportunity? Where do you come out?
Well, I think that lockers could absolutely be an opportunity for us. Today, most of in urban Canada, our parcel delivery goes into, we do the delivery attempt, which obviously has a cost to it, so you could skip a delivery attempt. Or if it's not there, it comes to my franchises in urban Canada, excuse me, which we pay a nominal fee for them to do the delivery for us. We're open until 9 o'clock at night. We're open Saturdays and Sundays. Taking out that labor for them, which is their number one cost, and putting in an automated solution would absolutely be something that we would be interested in. As it stands today, we like the idea. We haven't put it in yet, but we do see it as part of our offering at some point moving ahead, where we can have it fully automated, because labor is our entire cost. When it's our franchise, it's their entire cost, and having a more cost-efficient way, which is no people to do it, certainly would something that we would look at.
Yesterday, listening to Pat Donahoe talk about inevitable silos, one of the most creative managers who's achieved some of the biggest successes for the Postal Service in decades, nevertheless recognizing there are practical limits to big incumbent organizations and how far you can go. But when do you get to the place where you say, boy, we are limited in what we can do, but we got to break the rules and do it anyway?
I think that's what we're trying to do with these concept stores now. Like we have to find a way to do self-serve. We have to find a way where it's more convenient for the customers, and that's why we're trying to build kiosks that are perfect. We're trying to build induction that it can be done 24 hours a day. I think the one piece in here we didn't do, which we wanted to originally, would have been the automated lockers. For us, the concept we were trying to test first and foremost was the drive-through. How would that resonate with customers, and would that be really convenient with customers? So that's our concept. I think coming at some point we'll have the full Monty going, where it's going to be induction, selling, and delivery, and those are what I do in my stores today. And we've got two of the three of them. Certainly the third, where the person can come any point in time to pick up the parcel, would be a natural fit, obviously.
You just said something really interesting, because 2 weeks I'm going to be in a session in the Postal Forum, and I'm highly conscious of the fact that session has on it retail, and that people want me to talk about retail in that session. But Neil, as I heard it, you could ship, right? And Anthony, as you were talking, it was shipping and delivery. And which were you talking about, retail or delivery? Which one?
So I think that both can exist, and stepping back a little bit, when we were talking about not going to the post office, in our mind it's more about offering the services that all exist to a more consumer-friendly packaging. So by putting a swap box in a store, you're not necessarily replacing anything. You're saying now a customer can access services that they want to at a more convenient form factor within a retail store that they're already going to. So the reason that we started offering the outbound product is because the inbound product was succeeding. People were receiving packages not at their home, and it was a choice that they were making as a consumer. But there's a constraint in some circumstances with the post office, where you have to get there before 5 p.m. So why can you not offer that service in a location where you don't have to get there before 5 p.m. or closing time, which is changing, but still be able to use the post office's services? We actually think that we'll be able to drive more traffic, because you're now enabling customers that wouldn't normally access these services to do so in a retail setting. And so when you talk about retail like this, it's really first mile and last mile. It's anytime a customer has a touch point with the services, that's what we want to improve, because bottom line is they're the ones driving our business, right? So why not improve the way that they can interact with it?
So I've got to tell John Callan that I just couldn't stick with the first mile. That it had to be first mile, last mile.
We're experimenting with first mile, but there's last mile, or there's a lot of last mile in there too.
Yeah, and I think you made perfectly the point that I wanted to make, which was Walter Isaacson's book about Steve Jobs. He talks about how he was a revolutionary in 6 different industries, that he was disrupting 6 different industries. And I didn't begin to get it about what was happening when you were putting that kind of power in the consumer's hand. Now, what the implications of that are going to be for Canada Post, for the USPS, for the big incumbents, we're only going to begin to see. I don't want to kind of have the four of us dominate the conversation. Does anybody want to get into this? Are there any questions? Or if there are, please go ahead. Hi, Pat.
John, I'm very interested in what you had to say about your retail unit. I'm with Postal Service, and we're constantly struggling on how we rethink, reinvent all of our retail spaces. And one thing that keeps coming up is we try to relate our digital customer, their account, say, online, with what they're doing at retail and trying to tie those experiences together. Have you made any leeway there or have thoughts about that?
We just came through, we hired McKinsey to do some strategy work for us for what is going to be our retail network in 5, 10 years. Of that, what kind of came out of it is different post office formats, moving from one size fits all to a sort of a tiered service level, depending on where you are and how much business, what type of business you're doing. From that is going to come what products and services we're going to sell in each format, and then from there is going to be our technology. The technology piece is going to be critical to that, because right today we've got a standalone system that doesn't talk to anything else, but it looks like probably within 2 years we'll have to replace all our point of sale systems. It will start online, finish in store, talk back and forth is exactly where we're going to be going, and not have one size fits all type of hardware either. So we struggle with it also. When you look at the models we're trying to build, if we're saying in this type of store, the only way you're going to be able to do, let's say it's an international parcel, is if you go online, you stage it online, and if you have to come in, we'll scan a barcode and print you off a label if that's what you want, or pay whoever you're going to be, or fill in all the data for you. Some of our other complex transactions, the same thing. We're not going to have people in these franchises who are checkout clerks doing anything very complicated. Has to be simple. They're going to be there to sell stamps and whatever it might be, provided we have to still do that in some of those stores.
Yeah, one of the points of the kind of conversation about Uber and Foursquare is what the partnering strategy has to look like if you're going to be a nimble incumbent in this kind of a marketplace. And the idea that somebody might say, well, that's not the way in which we procure services, is something that we're all going to have to take a look at in coming years. I think there's probably time for one or two more questions, and
I have one.
Back to Cora.
If I'm the only one, Bob, John.
Please.
For John, you're right. I was intrigued when I first read about your concept stores in the changing room, and not that I thought that was going to be a overwhelming success right away, but I mean a lot of changes take time to come into place. And you mentioned that you are having a little bit of experience with, who is it? Banana Republic or
what I said was some of the shippers put return labels right in their boxes. Right. Banana Republic, the Gap, when you buy something, a suit jacket or whatever, I buy two, if it doesn't work, I just put the label back on and ship it back. Probably for them, it increases their return rate, but it makes it easy so those types of customers can come in, try it on, never have to leave the store, put the label on and send it back. Others, it's a complicated process because you have to get a return authorization number, and then they have to send you a label, and so those types of transactions, you're not going to wait in the store and do that. You're going to go home. You're going to do it when it's convenient for you.
Well, I certainly understand the return label part is important, but I wonder, have you engaged with the merchants at all in order to have them encourage this? Because I think it would be an advantage to them.
Yeah. So that work is starting now. So again, when we to the question before, when we finished our work on the retail strategy and we said we're not going to be one size fits all, and one of the big work streams is take out the complexity. So that's complexity of the work that we do at the outlets. It's also going to be the complexity of all the different processes we have, and the return label process is not pretty. There's And even for my stores, there's 5 or 6 different types of return processes, whether they're phones or whether they're modems or whether it's just a return where there's an authorization form. So it's complex for us, and we have to start that work with the suppliers to say we need something more standard, something that's easy for them and easy for us. So that work is starting.
Well, I don't know about Canada, but, and I'm not a big customer, but I know Zappos has built their whole business based on returns. And I imagine with an opportunity to try on several pairs of shoes at one time and perhaps in sportswear and whatnot, that there would be something attractive if the merchants got behind it. But it's terribly innovative, I think, and fascinating. So,
Okay.
Bob? Yeah, so with that, guess what, folks? We're back on time because we're taking 15 minutes of the extra 15 we put into your break away from you. So you still have a 15-minute break so that we can catch up, okay?
Just let
Thank
me
you.
thank the panel here.